All right, let's get going. Again, this is Ben Campopiano. I'm the principal here at Pine Hollow. Thank you for being here. This meeting is our Meet the Teacher meeting. It's an opportunity for students that are coming into Pine Hollow next year and families to meet our sixth grade team and learn a bit more about our sixth grade classes, our sixth grade program, and the sixth grade experience. It is a exciting time for kids transitioning. It's been a rough year. We know that for sure for students all over the country, but we're excited to be coming out of it. And we definitely see the light at the end of the tunnel. Many of you may already be doing some in person learning, and we're looking like a fall will be, I won't say back to normal, but looking very good. So we're so excited for all of our incoming students. We've heard great things about the fifth grade classes from our feeder teachers and feeder principals, and we're excited for you all to become Mustangs. Some of you who have family members who have gone through Pine Hollow know how amazing our staff is and how awesome our sixth grade team of teachers are. And you already know that, but today those of you who are new will get to meet them and hear from them. If your child is with you, that's awesome. If they couldn't make it today, that's okay. We are recording this meeting for those of you who want to view this later, or have a family member view it later, or a friend who couldn't make it tonight. I will be sending it out and posting it on our website and all that. And also thanks for your flexibility as we had to change our times today at the last minute. So thank you for your flexibility on that. Before I pass it off to our vice principal and counselor, the one thing I want to focus on is we know, and we want you all to know that we know that the transition to from school to school, particularly elementary to middle school, is it's tough for a lot of kids. It's a big change, and you go from having just a couple teachers to a lot of teachers. You go from a couple assignments to a lot of assignments. A couple, lunch tables to a lot of lunch tables. Right? Everything is bigger and more in middle school, and then same with high school and same with college. And so transitions can be tough. We know that, and we take a lot of time and a lot of effort to help mitigate the issues that can occur with that. We think through that, and the sixth grade teachers will talk today about the things they do to make the transition smoother for kids. And we really want to create a soft landing here in middle school, and create an opportunity and an environment where the kids feel comfortable, where they feel welcome, they have a person that they can connect with, a staff member. And not to say that it won't be challenging, not to say that it won't be harder, because it will. It will be more challenging and more rigorous than elementary. We take great pains to make sure that students are supported, that students feel welcomed, and have an opportunity to really connect with at least one staff member, if not more. So I want you all to know that that's critical for us. It's critical for me as the principal, that our students who come to Pine Hollow do not feel as though they are just now a part of this big C. We want to make sure that we know them, we know their name, we know their needs, and we are here for them. It's an exciting time for kids transitioning to middle school, but it can be a challenge for a lot, and that's okay to be nervous. It's okay to be kind of curious and questioning, particularly after the year we've had. So this meeting here is hopefully alleviate some of those concerns. And then this summer, we'll be having sixth grade orientation in August, where kids will get to come onto campus and get a tour and all that. And then we'll have a walkthrough registration on campus, right? We'll get them up to speed and acclimated very quickly. So I know there's always concerns about where's my classroom, or where's the cafeteria, right? Those things we'll get your kids up to speed on in no time. But that is something we are aware of. We want you to know that we really care about and we will take care of. The other thing I want to talk to you about is, you know, the last year has been hard. Then there's a lot of discussion around learning loss and our summer enrichment program and different things that have occurred in the last year. And I will say that, you know, a lot of that is true, and we understand that the experience has been different. But that said, we are going to push forward, you know, this summer and this fall and next year, moving forward and challenging our kiddos as much as we would any other year. We may back up a few steps and reteach some things that we know from the fifth grade teachers that weren't covered. But you can expect that your kids will have, you know, a super rigorous experience in sixth grade and get back up to speed academically. We don't foresee that this year is going to hinder them long term. We're not forecasting that your kids are going to be super far behind in seventh, eighth grade and forever, right? We believe that we can, you know, yes, reteach a few things, but get them back up to where they need to be pretty quickly. Although the learning loss thing is real, it's also sort of been overblown in one sense. Your kids have been doing a ton of work from home this year, ton of work, a ton of reading and writing. It's different, yes, but they've also learned great new skills with their computers and with their communication. So, you know, I'm super excited for the fall. I cannot wait to get onto campus with a whole bunch of kids and staff and everyone together again. We're excited for all of you to join us, and you know, we can't wait. So I'm going to now pass it off to my vice principal, Tyler Rosecrans. Tyler is going to talk to you briefly about our master schedule and the classes, and then Tyler, give it back to me and I'll introduce Ed. Okay, go ahead, Tyler.
Sounds good. Can you guys all hear me?
You're a little soft.
Yeah, something's going on with my computer today, so I guess I'll just yell like I'm coaching on soccer. Oh, thank you, everybody. All right. So like Mr. Campos said, I get the wonderful job of doing master scheduling for all 560, 80 students here at Pine Hollow. And so we're really excited to have all the sixth graders on campus. We have talked about this in other parent meetings about your schedule. You're going to go from having one teacher, maybe a PE teacher, to multiple teachers. And so you're going to move to a 7-period day. And you're going to be, and a lot of you have chosen your electives. The big majority of you have chosen the rotation, which includes rotation for AVID, computers, music appreciation, and art. So a lot of you will cycle through those 4 classes every quarter, and that's going to be your sixth grade rotation. Some of you want to continue playing music, and we have you slated for a music class here at Pine Hollow Middle School. And so we're really excited to have you join that music program. It's wonderful, and we can't wait to hear you guys in person next year. So we're really excited about our music program as well. And the other elective, and I know my wonderful sixth grade team may speak about it more, is going to be your reading class. So you're going to take a reading class with one of the sixth grade teachers. You'll read some really awesome books. You'll continue to develop your passion for reading. Work on some other fun activities, and it's a wonderful class. Every sixth grader that I know here loves it and talks about how cool the books are. So you're really lucky to take that class. And your other core classes are going to be your English, your world history, your math, and your science. So those are your other classes. And so we're really excited, and that's kind of the schedule. So if you have any questions or concerns about music or rotation, feel free to email me. I'll put my email in the chat, but that's about it. So you guys have a really easy schedule. So I'm excited about you guys. And so that's about all for me. So back to Mr. Campo.
All right. Thank you, Tyler. Tyler briefly passed over PE. So one thing is you will all be getting PE as well every single day. And that is one of your core classes as well. So thank you, Mr. Rosecrans, for putting together that schedule. And I think all of you are gonna really enjoy your classes, and although you will have more teachers, we do make an effort to combine some of your core classes so you don't have 7 teachers. Instead, you would have 3 or 4 teachers covering those 7 classes. So now I'd like to introduce our counselor, our fantastic counselor, Mr. Perryman. Mr. Perryman does all sorts of academic counseling, social emotional work. He runs our tobacco prevention program. He runs our web program where everybody belongs. And he's just a fantastic asset for our community. And I'm going to let him talk a little bit about the web program that we're so proud of here at Pine Hollow. Ed, go ahead.
Good afternoon, everyone. As Mr. Campo mentioned, my name is Mr. Perryman. I'm your school counselor. I usually work with students on their academics, just focusing on grades, as well as any emotional or social support you may need. But for the most part, the most exciting thing is the web program. The web program web stands for Where Everybody Belongs. It's a 6th grade transition program where our upper class students, 7th and 8th graders in particular, work with you all and helping you transition to middle school. They work with you all throughout the year. We participate in activities during lunch, as well as some classroom presentations and just overall getting to know each other. We have about 3 different schools that come to our school. So it's a great time to get to know other people that are in the 6th grade that aren't just from your own school. So for the most part, our web leaders meet with you. We also hold 6th grade orientation, which is going to be on Thursday, August 5th. And during that day, it's a couple of hours where you get to learn about your teachers, you get to learn about our campus and what we do on campus, as well as get a tour of our campus just to see what it looks like, what your classes are going to be like, and you get to ask questions to those 7th and 8th graders so that you get to know the school a little bit better, know about our programs and our clubs. So yeah, I'm truly looking forward to meeting you all, and I'm looking forward to having you all on our campus. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Ed. I'm so grateful for the web program. It's a nationwide program that really helps kids transition smoothly into middle school. And there's a high school version of it as well. It's very cool. So many 6th graders love their web experience that many of them apply to become web leaders during their 7th and 8th grade years so they can mentor incoming 6th graders. So it's a very cool program. Okay, so now to the meat of the presentation. Our 6th grade team is going to be presenting more about themselves and their program, their classes, and the experience. I will say that Tyler and Ed and I will be monitoring the chat. So if you have questions, please put them in the chat. We'll do our best to follow along and answer them. And then we'll have a Q&A time at the end of this meeting after their presentation. We'll also share this presentation out with everybody. And again, the meeting is being recorded, so we'll share that as well. Thank you all again for coming. I'm going to pass it to our department chair. Kelly, you want me to pass it to you?
No, it's going to me.
Oh, okay.
Karen,
All right.
Karen is going to share our slides for us.
Okay, so I'm going to put on our slides and we're each taking a turn. I'm Mrs. Christensen, Math and Science.
All right. Sorry about that. I'm going to pass it to Karen Christensen. Go
Okay,
ahead,
this
Karen.
time I'm going to remember to do present.
Karen, it might be better if we don't do present because I think you're going to lose some of the information on the slides possibly. But we can try it. Let's just see how it goes. So welcome incoming 6th grade families. I'm Mrs. Kale Hernandez. I am obviously a 6th grade teacher and I teach English, history, reading, and rotation. One thing that I like to share with the families coming in is that not only do I teach at Pine Hollow and it's my home away from home, I actually was a student at Pine Hollow when I was in 7th and 8th grade. So I went all the way through Mount Diablo Unified School District and I'm really proud to be a teacher here. One of the unique things about Pine Hollow is that our teachers are teamed, which means that we have 3 teachers that teach English and history, and then the other 3 sixth grade teachers teach math and science. We work together in 2-person teams, and it's just a really great system. We're able to really get to know your students and work with families, and it's just been I think it's a real asset to Pine Hollow in itself. Mrs. Christensen, if you could do the next slide. On the slide, I have it kind of color coordinated. So my team partner is Mrs. Mann, who teaches math and science. Mrs. Christensen and Mrs. Roberts Farley work together, and you can see there what they teach. And then also Mrs. Keller-Halls and Mrs. Medina are a team. So your students will be in our classes, and 5 of the 6th grade teachers also teach reading, and we also teach like rotation, and some of us teach PE. So your kids really do get to know the 6th grade team really well. And so that's something that we like to share. Also, as a 6th grade team, we work very closely together. We collaborate all the time. It's really important to us that as 6th graders or incoming 5th graders come into our school, we really want them to all have the same middle school experience. And so we really do provide the same lessons and activities throughout our classes. And so we really are like a unified group. Next slide, please. So I'm going to be talking about language arts. We are really enjoy writing in our classrooms. We use a writer's workshop model. We follow the teacher college curriculum, and I know some of the elementary schools also do. It's a lot of people refer to it as Lucy Culkin. We make sure that our kids have writer's notebooks. We do a lot of conferring. We do a lot of conferences with our students, and we really work hard on getting students to feel comfortable sharing their writing with others. We really try to create an environment that is student-centered. The main goals for 6th grade is for students to be able to write a personal narrative, an argument, and informational essay. That is something we'll be working on throughout the year. We use a lot of mentor texts and novels to inspire the writing that our students do. And we do have a lot of writing projects. We just really like them to feel comfortable with their writing. We really want to move them forward and to become strong writers. And it's just a program that we're really proud of and we really enjoy teaching. The next slide. Yeah, I was just before on the writer one, I was just going to say that we do really foster the writer's notebook. And that's something where parents can really support us on, is just making sure that kids are using their writer's notebook, that they bring it to school and that they really keep current in it. And it's also fun if you sometimes read their writing. It's any encouragement that they can get really helps them move forward. The other thing that we really are proud of is that we are so fortunate at our school that we have created an incredible library for our 6th graders. We have probably, I would imagine, about 50 class sets of novels. Our novels are from classics all the way to current social issues. We really feel strongly about bringing in books to our classrooms that make kids really think, that we address a lot of things that are going on in our world right now. And we really like kids to be able to think about what's going on in the world, to have these books that some kids can just identify with. They might say, I see myself in that book. We are just really proud of our library. We use these books not only in our reading class, but we also integrate them into our English classes. So we really try to get as many books into the hands of our students as we can. And again, we will just really feel incredibly fortunate that we have this many books to offer. And this right here is just a sampling. We have so many great books to offer to our students. And so basically, that's it for English and history. A lot of writing, sorry, English and reading, I teach history also, is that we do a lot of reading, a lot of writing, and we really like to support our kids in that area. And Mrs. Roberts Farley is going to be presenting the information on world history.
Hi, my name is Roberts Farley, and we focus on ancient civilizations. We start with the river valleys of Mesopotamia, Egypt, India, and China, and work through hopefully Greece and Rome in a good year. We have added in iCivics this last year, and we hope to continue a little bit with that, not quite so much since it's not an election year, but we would like to teach a little bit of the civics. We have our world history textbook, and we use the TCI program, which is a history program that has an all-encompassing, it goes along with what we teach really well. We do focus on vocabulary and writing. And our writing in history is really focused on using your own words and not copying and pasting because especially this year, it's been so easy for the kids to just find the answer, copy it and paste it. And we really want them to paraphrase. And so we start the year off with several paraphrasing lessons to teach them how to take the information and turn it into their own words, how to take notes and use their own words instead of somebody else's. The earlier they get in the habit of doing that, the easier it is. We focus mostly on most of our work is projects, not test based. So we have a lot of artwork in our projects so that some kids, it allows them to shine in that area when maybe writing isn't the easiest for them. Okay. Thank you. You're on mute. Mrs. Christensen is on mute and she's going to be doing.
There we go. Where am I in this little picture? Sorry. I'm Miss Christensen. I work with Miss Roberts Farley and teach math and science. So in math, we've got, during the time that I've come to Pine Hollow, we have a new textbook that goes with the new standards. It's called Digits. So with it, we might get a workbook, we might not, with all that we have to do, we don't use the workbook as much as we would like. So we may not be ordering it this next year, we have to see. But Digits is a program that was meant to be used online. 6th grade doesn't use it online till like the second half of the year. But in 7th and 8th grade, they do a lot of that. So we teach them how to get on, and it's nice because they can check their answers. Like they know if they're right or wrong right away. So that's a plus. We do math notes. We have their own math notes notebook that we get from the district, and we teach them how to take notes in that and how to refer back to them. And we try to throw in projects in place of tests every once in a while, kind of to mix it up and just to see what they can do, when they're not under the pressure of doing it all at once. And then for science, recently, 2 years ago, they did the next generation science standards. It's called NGSS. It's more hands-on, more like lab-based. We have an interactive science notebook that is really nice. It kind of takes the place of our textbook, since our textbook no longer follows the standards. We mostly use the textbook for vocabulary. It still is good in that way. So they make a very nice like textbook of their own out of their notebook. And we try to put in labs and projects throughout the weeks so that they have that too, because that's the fun of science, is doing those sorts of things. Go to the next one. So it's the first year you'll have grading. You hopefully are already familiar with Aries and HomeLink from maybe you have an older child that has it. But so for us, it's called Aries, although more parents are calling it Aries. So I don't know if they changed the title on your part, but it used to only your part that you saw was HomeLink. And we update our grades maybe more often than every 2 weeks, but if you looked at the grade and you don't see it again for 2 weeks, you should see a change in 2 weeks, but in between, maybe not, because we have all those different classes. So you kind of end up focusing on catching up in one and then you work on another. So it's not like we're updating it every day, but we would like you to check it every week. Like in middle school, we do want to foster more independence, but it is their first time with grades. So we need you to, have some oversight on that and check on it and not just wait until you get a progress report halfway through the quarter or you get that grade at the end of the quarter. You need to really be on it like every week to see, especially if your child's been absent, because 6th graders have trouble remembering that even though they didn't make it to school that day, there was still work that they're supposed to do that day. It doesn't go away just because they didn't come to school, and they have trouble with that. And then I'm going to slide 8, which will be.
Hello, my name is Tara Mann, and I teach 6th grade math, science, reading, and computer rotation at Pine. I also like to add that all of the 6th grade teachers have had at least one or more middle school students of their own, so that we can relate to you on your experiences of getting your kids through their middle school years. I get to be the lucky one to present the fun slide on 6th grade field trips. There's a bunch of pictures here representing that. An exciting Alcatraz Island trip is scheduled yearly as part of the 6th grade history. It includes a bus ride out to San Francisco and a boat ride to and from Alcatraz Island, with several hours on the island to explore with their chaperones. The Science Exploratorium in San Francisco is usually booked every year at the same time we go to Alcatraz, because we usually split the kids into 2 groups when Alcatraz is scheduled. They are both a big hit with the kids every year and something that we really look forward to. And in addition to those 2, we also have, this will be our 3rd year teaming up with the Marine Mammal Center out in Sausalito. It is a program called OA, Ocean Ambassadors. We follow some of their curriculum and use lab equipment donated by them, and in turn get to visit the Marine Mammal Center on an all-day adventure in the facility, viewing the animals there, and have beach time with more lessons at the beach. We also get a second field trip with OA that takes us out on a several-hour boat ride in the bay. It's half classroom on the bottom and half observation deck on the top, exploring ocean life and even going under the Golden Gate Bridge. These field trips are definitely a highlight of the 6th grade experience. We all look forward to it, students and teachers. And lastly, OA, Oceans Ambassador, just announced that they will be offering some virtual summer school programs, including 1 virtual Camp Sequest for rising 5th through 8th graders. This can be accessed through their website, themarinemammalcenter.org.
Hi, I'm Liat Medina, and I teach English, history, and reading. I have my second daughter who's about to make the transition as well to 6th grade. So I will be right there with all of you. One of the things that we've incorporated in the past few years is mindfulness. So we practice Mindful Mondays, sometimes more than just on Mondays. And it's just guided meditation. Each teacher kind of does it in their own way. And it's a way to help students deal with stress. It's also a helpful way to keep them focused. Oftentimes, maybe after lunch, it's a good way to get them to calm down and be ready to be more present. And we found that students are really enjoying it, and many of them are also doing it outside of our mindful time at school. So it's been something that's been great for students and for teachers. Go ahead, next slide. Another thing that many of us incorporate are community circles, maybe once a month or once every other week. And it's a really good way for not only for us to build a relationship with our students, but for students to build relationships with each other. I think it helps students really feel like they have a voice in our classroom. And it's a really great way for us to discuss ideas, to discuss conflicts, to help resolve them, to celebrate successes, and also a way to kind of allow students to share and to get to know each other even more. And so that's been a really positive thing as well.
Hi, I'm Eileen Roberts Farley again, and I'm here to discuss the 6th grade awards. We have Mustang Pride in our school, which is the way we expect all Mustangs and our students and faculty and staff to act in a positive, respectful, inclusive, determined, and engaged way. And so we have developed our awards based on our pride. So we give an award for positive, respectful, inclusive. We also give one for integrity and determined and engaged. And then after that, we also have those rare students who really are very special. So we give a rare award also. So we are looking throughout the year for kids who exhibit these qualities. And at the end of the year, that's what we base our awards on for 6th grade. So next slide. For any school, donations are really happily accepted. And this is a list of the things that we use a lot. And so I'm not going to go through and read it, but these are the kinds of things that when we ask for donations, we are asking for. The last one, the cash and Amazon gift cards, mostly that is if we are trying to get something, a class set of something, or if there's somebody who maybe isn't able to afford to go on a field trip. We've had parents that have come through and helped the people, paid for an extra student so that in the event that there was a student that wasn't able to afford it, that would be helpful. So. Oh, and Mrs. Kellerhals is.
Thank you. So I'm Leah Kellerhals, and I actually pair with Miss Medina. I think it's kind of nice to see who goes together. And I will be talking about communication. I as well have a student right now in middle school and one that is going into middle school next year. So this part I feel is also really important, especially for kids going to middle school to learn how to communicate with their teachers. So one of the most important skills students need to learn starting in middle school is how to communicate with their teachers and other adults. Teachers should be your primary source of information. Students should also be the ones to communicate with their teachers when they have questions. So an example, if a question is about your homework or an assignment or anything in class, it should come from the student to the teacher first and see if we can resolve the question. And then if we have to, we'd like to get a parent or their adult involved. It is important to emphasize that students are accountable for knowing their teacher's expectations. So if your student is supposed to email, for example, this year, if someone has a late assignment or needs extra time, we ask the students to email us. And it is definitely something that can be challenging for some students. So it'd be great to go on their Gmail even now or over the summer to show them how to create an email, show them how to label it, look up teachers. You can type in the last name and the teacher should pop up, and really just how to address an adult is a great start so that they feel comfortable in emailing us when they need to contact us. So suggestions for the summer: read, read, read. So reading is, of course, the gateway to success in every subject. Every subject, even if it's math, you're going to have to read. So it's really important to keep up those skills and practice. Just like a sport, you want to practice to get better at it, you need to practice reading. So it could be a book. You could pick your favorite book you want to read. It could be following directions. Cooking is a wonderful way to read directions. And you're getting the reading, but you're also getting math with fractions. So 2 in 1, I think that's an awesome skill. Chores, that helps give some independence. 6th grade is a little bit more independence than they had in 5th. We have a great team at Pine Hollow, so I definitely think they'll still feel that support, but they're responsible of remembering what period they need to go to, where their class is, what homework is, in which subject. So there's a little bit more that they need to do on their own. Work on organizational skills. So it's a lot to all of a sudden have more than one teacher. So it definitely helps if you can get them ready during the summer for going into middle school. So you want to maybe organize their bedroom and their work area, whether it's a calendar, or I know my daughter has a whiteboard so she can write important things that she doesn't want to forget on there. You can just make sure you have your supplies so they're not fumbling around for a pencil, a pen when they're doing their homework. And they kind of have a neat area to do their work so their papers don't get lost. For in person, they're going to have some work that comes home that's actually tangible paperwork, and we want to make sure they can stay organized. Also, get outside and be active. This summer, it is, we've been inside, but it's really important if they can get outside, run around, get out and be kids. That's important. Getting enough sleep. And I have to say again, having 2 kids, I know our sleep schedule's off with the distant learning because they think, oh, we can sleep until last minute and roll out of bed. That's a big fight at our house. So getting back to that schedule of getting to going to bed at a decent time so they can get up. Next year's going to be a big transition, I think, when they have to get up on time and actually get ready and go to school. So I definitely think working on a sleep pattern that's good. I see lots of smiles. And I think that's pretty much it. Thank you so much. It was great seeing everybody.
Thank you, Mrs. Keller-Halls. And I will second that. I have a one starting middle school and another one starting her sophomore year in high school. So I know that transition, getting them up is going to be hard. So another thing that is really important is because, phones and students are online, and that's a big part of our lives. We wanted to address being digitally responsible. So first, these are just some of the apps that many of you know. This presentation will be posted. So there are some links. So there's a link at the bottom. Common Sense Media has a list of apps so that you can read about them. It tells you a little bit more about them. It tells you how much security and there is, but these are the age recommendations. We do discourage students from having these apps because they are 13 plus. Some of them are just not monitored properly either. So go ahead, go to the next slide. There are some positive, obviously, with social media and with digital communication. When monitored and used responsibly, they can be a positive place for information, way to connect over common interests. It does help students stay connected with friends and family. It can allow students to volunteer and get involved. And it can enhance creativity. It also can be a great way to promote communication with teachers and classmates. So there definitely are positives. There are a lot of risks involved, which are really important to be aware of. They are adolescents, and as we know, they don't always make responsible choices, and they do need to be monitored. Some of the risks are they can replace actual socialization. Oftentimes social media shows a very idealized Photoshop picture of people's lives that isn't really reality. It holds their attention. It can be very distracting. As we know, with distance learning, a lot of students were distracted by devices. It can encourage passive browsing. It can become addictive, can lead to feelings of inadequacy. And, people share private information. We see a lot of conflicts at school that start on social media, group texts, things like that. So it's really important to monitor. These are just some statistics. I'm not going to read them to you, but you can see that there are a lot of risks involved with overuse, with not being monitored. It can lead to mental illnesses, depression, inadequate feelings. Girls are often more at risk than boys, but there are a lot of risks involved. This also, there's a new study that was out, and the link is at the top of some of the findings with some of these platforms, gaming platforms, other types of platforms that students often use, that they're not necessarily monitored the way you think, and that many children are less likely to tell parents or caregivers about inappropriate comments or interactions they've had. They may block them or report it, but they may not tell you about it. So it is really important that you are monitoring what your child is using, because not all things are monitored very closely. So what can you do as a parent? Although we discourage social media use at this age and excessive use of phones at this age, if your child is using it, there are things you can do to help them be responsible. Set clear expectations, make a contract, know who your child is communicating with. Make sure they are balancing their digital communication with real social interactions. Do your homework. Try out an app before allowing your child to use it. Discourage posting of themselves or revealing personal information. Set clear limits, amount of time spent on phones. You can set downtime. My fifth grader, it does not have a phone, and my high schooler does, but we have downtime. Her phone does not go with her to bed. And they know both that I monitor their texts. I monitor their, what they do. It's really important to make sure we're doing that. And keep devices out of bedrooms at night. Know all their passwords. Things that you can say to your children about digital responsibility. Don't say anything online you wouldn't say face-to-face. I wouldn't say anything you wouldn't want your parents, grandparents, coaches, or teachers to see. Think twice or even 3 times before hitting enter. Once you post it, it's permanent. Don't friend strangers, and remind your students no one has the right to share other people's information, pictures, address, phone number without permission. And we encourage meaningful interactions. So help provide your child with guidance about ways that they can have meaningful interactions, and make sure that they're monitored. And then, there's always privacy settings. So we always encourage to make sure that their computers and their devices have those settings. Thank you. And then there's other links to some other articles related to this topic.
All right. Thank you to our 6th grade team, our fabulous team. And you got to hear a little bit about each of them and their classes and their programs they teach. One of the great things about them is they work side by side, literally. Their classrooms are all in the same hallway. They have lunch together. They are neighbors in the hallway, and they're constantly talking. It creates a very communal atmosphere for all 6th graders, and they operate as a team, which really helps students get a better handle of what their work is, and connect math to science and English to history, and it all works well together. So that's really exciting and such a great part of this team. I do want to take the next 10 or 15 minutes to be available to answer questions. If any of you, need to jump off, we are recording this, but I want to be able to take some questions and hear from you all if you have questions for the 6th grade teachers. So you can continue to put them in the chat. We will continue to monitor the chat. I do see a message here, a couple messages about the bell schedule. Our school day starts at 8:20 in the morning, and that's how it'll roll in the fall, assuming we are back to normal, which is how it appears to be now. So if all is back to normal, we'll be starting at 8:20 in the morning, and I will try to share the bell schedule here on this chat in just a moment. All right. I see another question, and then I'll open it up. Jordan, you asked, how do we find out what teachers we have? That's a great question. And all of our students find out the day before school at our walkthrough registration, their teachers and their classes. That's the day we come onto campus, we give you your schedule, you get your books, you get information about your classrooms. You can get acclimated one more time and get set up. So I know it's a hard to wait that long, but it's our walkthrough registration this year will be the day before school, Wednesday, August 11th. And we'll be sharing out more information with parents all summer long so that you are prepared for that, parents. Okay. I want to now, if you want to unmute or raise your hand, we're happy to answer any questions. Our teachers are here, and they're happy to answer as well. Tara, can you answer the question in the chat about do the kids go on both the SF field trips, Alcatraz and Exploratorium?
Yes, it's open for all kids to go on all the field trips. The Exploratorium and the Alcatraz trip are just kind of combined around the same time because of the amount of people that we can take on a boat to Alcatraz in one day. So, 4 field trips is a lot, but we are still hoping that everything's opened up for that next year in the fall.
Absolutely.
So for the Alcatraz field trip, the whole 6th grade goes. Half of them go to Alcatraz, the other half go to the Exploratorium. And then the next week, usually, we do the same thing and they switch.
Thank you. All right. Kintaro, I see your hand up. Go ahead.
Yeah, so will we go to like the field trips next year?
Yep. So all sixth graders will go on our hope is 2, 3, or 4 field trips. There are no, I did get a question privately about like a science camp or an overnight camp. We don't do overnight trips like maybe you've heard about in 5th grade occurring. So you won't get that experience, but we do try to make up for that by doing as many field trips as possible. Alcatraz, Exploratorium, the Marine Mammal Center, different places that are a ton of fun and educational. Karen, I see that you put Friday, August 6th. It's actually Thursday, August 5th. Jordan, Frias, go ahead.
So with the parents volunteering, are we supposed to get re-fingerprinted?
I saw somebody's question about that. Honestly, I don't know if it's something you have to do annually or every couple years. Someone can correct me if they know. I'll relink the information to the volunteer. Our district office handles all volunteer paperwork and submissions, and then they tell us who can volunteer, who's approved. We don't do any of that here at the site at the middle or high school level. It all goes to that link I just shared in the chat. There's instructions and a process, and then they let us know if you're cleared and approved.
Okay.
Mr. Campo, I was just going to add that usually you only have to get your fingerprints done one time, but like the TB test, that has to be current. So like if you did it with your child when they were in 1st grade, it's like every 7 years or whatever, the things have to be kept current.
Thank you.
I think it's every 3 or 4 years for TB.
Okay. Looking around, I see an iPhone. Go ahead.
Hi, so what do you guys, I don't know how to say it, but like when they're overwhelmed, what do you guys do do the teachers talk to them? Do you guys have like something to do for them? Or, when they're overwhelmed with all these work, and what do you guys do about that?
Yeah, I'll let the staff chime in, but I will say that, school is more stressful than ever. That's true for all adolescent kids across America, right? It's becoming more and more difficult and stressful. Kids navigating a lot of stuff, and we understand that. We know that. We're aware of that. We try to do preventative things like mindfulness and community circles, and we try to do a lot of reflecting and journaling. Our teams try to do a lot of social, emotional, and team building work. That said, it certainly happens where kids get overwhelmed or stressed or anxious or different things. So we do have strategies in place to.
So they have a lot of support, right? A lot of support from everybody.
A ton of support. And Eileen, Ed, anyone want to add in? But yes, our counselor and our teachers are very supportive. Go ahead, Eileen.
I was going to say that one of the things that we do that's unique is that we have the teams. So they have 2 main teachers that are dealing with their core subjects. So we talk to each other and kind of make sure we're not piling on at the same time. And also our projects are kind of chunked up. So they have many deadlines along the way. So it's not this big, giant, oh my gosh, I have this due. This is due, and this is due.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking about too, like the due dates between every work and like the projects. I don't want her to be like overwhelmed and then not want to go to school,
Yeah, those are definitely real fears, and there is more work, but as Eileen said, as Mrs. Roberts Farley said, and Karen, you can chime in, is the teachers know the other teachers curriculum and schedule, so that they're not overwhelming kids with too many assignments or assessments or tests all at the same time.
Okay, that's good to know. Thank you.
I wanted to add, like Ms. Roberts Farley said, there's different little due dates. And we give them enough time to finish almost the entire project in class. The reason that they usually don't is because they socialize, because it's fun to, talk to people and show their projects. So if you're seeing that they're struggling with a project, you know that you need to talk to them about what they're doing with their time in class.
I also want to say they get a planner at the beginning of the school year. And I think it's really important they write down their homework or their assignments. And when they come home, I know that really helped with my son when he entered middle school. Again, my whiteboard thing, but write it down, because if you have a list and the due date next to it, it feels so great for them to cross that off, that one's done. And then you can say, okay, this one's going to take a little longer. Let's spend a little bit of time on the weekend. And it might take that, but sometimes the weekend is a day they're not so exhausted from school. And so they can spend a little time. So I think organizing it for them and making it visual, so they have a visual of what to do, helps.
And I'm just going to add onto that about, we give them time in class to write in their planner because we want them using their planners every day. We want them to get organized. All of us have a whiteboard set up in our classroom where the homework is posted, the agenda is posted, everything is clearly posted. And we use Google Classroom, which we probably will continue to use to make sure that, we can also help them with that and communicate with us. But communication is also really important. It's important for your student to get comfortable talking to their teachers and coming and seeing us brunch, lunch, after school, before school, to get help, before they start getting overwhelmed. But even if they do, to come and see us.
I just want to add to that too. It's really important to check HomeLink, to see if your student has any missing assignments. Definitely don't want to fall behind on missing assignments because it's hard to catch up. And if you notice that your student just needs that extra boost of confidence or a little bit of organizational skills, backpack checks, things like that, that's kind of what I do. So feel free to have your student, don't be afraid and come visit the counselor. You're never in trouble when you visit counselor. I'm here to support as best as I can. So just keep that in mind, that organization's important. Maybe weekly backpack checks. Always encourage parents to check their planners too, just to see what assignments they have or what assignments they need to do. And feel free to reach out. I left my email in the chat.
Thank you. A lot of good answers there. And I think one of the key things I heard, using the planners, being organized, checking HomeLink, looking at the homework board in class, different things to really help kids stay on track and stay organized. The sixth grade team is amazing about all of that. As parents, you can really help by at night and on weekends, checking the planner, checking HomeLink, checking their backpacks, and really doubling down on all those things that the teachers are doing in class. So I would really encourage that. We know when kids are organized, they're going to be a lot more successful.
I know during this time, I know we learned how to be teachers as parents, organizing. That's a lot of work we had to do.
Definitely. It's been quite a year. Okay, other questions? I'm looking around for hands.
Mr. Campbell, did you mention anything about the date of possible sixth grade orientation?
Yeah, sixth grade orientation is Thursday, August 5th. And walkthrough registration is Wednesday, August 11th. And the first school day is Thursday, August 12th. You can find all of these things on our school website, and I will be sending them regularly to you starting next month. So we don't use lockers here at Pine Hollow. I saw that question. None of the middle schools use lockers. So no lockers, but you will be able to keep your book, have a set of books at home. So there's really not a lot to carry around here on campus. Mr. Jordan Frias, I see your hand up. Do you have a question, or was from earlier?
Yeah, so it's just trying to reiterate with the homework assignments and the planners. Will the parents have access to also go to those websites to see what was posted? Maybe if it was forgot to get written down in the folder or whatnot. So that way I'm on the same page as what he's supposed to be on.
I was just going to add to that really quickly. We normally post our homework assignments on our whiteboards in our classroom, but because of this year of distance learning, we've been posting all of our homework charts in Google Classroom. We're hoping that we can continue that this year. We just don't know if all of our students will have access to Chromebooks, but that is definitely something that we're hoping, is that they will be able to have it posted in classroom as well as in the classroom. And then
Okay.
parents can definitely see what's posted in classroom.
Yeah, I just know, when I was in school, it was always on the whiteboard, but we were too busy talking to the buddy next to us. So, I'm just trying to be as active as I can. If I got to show up to school and take a picture of the whiteboard, I will.
Yeah, and you can.
I was gonna say, to piggyback on that too. So kids are not allowed to have their phones like during the school day, like they have to be in their backpack, but like after school, they can come in and take a picture of the whiteboard. They can come in at lunch, or brunch and take a picture of the whiteboard. We do allow that. And then their phone needs to go back in their backpack. The kids can definitely also take pictures of the whiteboard at the end of the day so that they don't forget.
Okay.
And another thing you can do, which we do for students, is you can have us sign their planner. That way, they wrote down the correct homework.
Awesome.
And also, students have access to HomeLink as well. So there's a student HomeLink and a parent HomeLink, so that students can also check their grades.
Okay, and so do we just sign up? Is that like an app or whatnot?
That happens during walkthrough. So they give you all that information during walkthrough.
Cool.
Okay, it's 5 o'clock. Is there someone who's dying to ask another question? We're happy to take another one. Liv, go ahead.
Liv, you're
Oh, sorry,
muted.
Liv,
You're muted.
you're muted. Don't worry, we all do it.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah, go ahead, Liv.
Okay. So I know everything's up in the air right now as far as, the COVID vaccine for 12-year-olds and above, but I'm curious, what are the chances that this is something that will be required in order for the students to stay, do the in-person class for the whole year? Do you know?
I have not heard any talks yet of that being required. I have not heard that, but things are changing and it's becoming more available. But, I have not heard that. I have not even heard possibility of that.
Okay.
I did link in the chat to a Q&A session that the superintendent did, Dr. Clark did a couple weeks ago regarding the fall reopening. And I recommend everybody to check that out. And then the upcoming board meeting this month and in June, we'll be able to provide more info on stuff like that.
Great, thanks.
Okay, so I want to thank you all for coming. Mr. Rosecrans and I will stick around for a couple more minutes. I will be sharing out this recording and posting it and that sort of thing. We thank you all for coming. Thank you to our 6th grade team and Mr. Perryman. We have such a fabulous staff and we're so excited for you all to be here with us. We're sorry we couldn't do this meeting in person. We're sorry, we haven't been able to meet you face to face yet, but we're looking forward to that in August. Please reach out. You can send us emails, you can give us a call, and you can expect to hear from me regularly in June, July, and August via email and phone call and text and all of the above. So thank you again for coming. Have a great rest of your evening. Mr. Rosecrans and I will stick on for another minute or two, but thank you so much, everybody. Have a good night. Okay, as we wrap up, is there anyone that had a final question that had to get out there? Great. Well, thank you so much, everybody.
I sent you a chat.